All right, good morning, class, and welcome to week number 11. That is right, week number 11 of your 7315 class, which is your library management class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. JSK Austin, and we really are going to have a shorter video this week. You all are due for that because I think the last 3 or 4 videos that I've done for this class have been like 30 minutes. So we are definitely going to keep this one at 15 minutes or less. And that'll give you all enough time to just catch a breath and everything, and maybe explore this resource that I'm going to share today on your own. But I'm just going to walk through the resource very, very quickly. It should take me about 10 minutes. First, let's get into the state of the course updates really, really quick. That's actually the resource that I'm going to be showing you later. Yes, so really you only have 2 major assignments left outside of your discussions, your case studies, and your final sync session. So those in your final sync session, let me double check when the date on that is. Okay, sorry about that. Your final sync session is April the 19th on a Tuesday. I am still trying to work out guest speaker information regarding that. But I will keep going on that and try to get somebody confirmed on that because time is of the essence. And if we don't end up having that sync session, then I'll probably just give you all the points for that instead. Your grant narratives are again due on May 9th, so that's a little more than a month in advance, or a little more than a month out. You have basically a month to get that done. So if you haven't been getting the ball rolling and getting stuff done and getting your groundwork laid with your groups, now is definitely the time to do so. And then also I will on April the 17th open this budget exercise assignment up, and you will have essentially a week to get that done. So the budget exercise thing, it was my predecessor Beth, she had a time limit on that of a week, and so I'm maintaining that. As I told you all at the beginning of the semester, I am making minimal changes to the class the first time I teach it because I need to see what goes right and what doesn't. I know that doesn't really help you all out too much, but also I am going to be taking that all into consideration as I'm grading that, you all are dealing with a professor who hasn't taught this class the way Missouri teaches it before. I taught a management class in South Carolina, and it was very different from how Missouri is approaching it. So that's just what it is. All right. So just remember you had those 2 assignments coming up. I will send out a notice when the budget exercise is available, and then also again keep working on your grant projects and keep doing your discussion boards and your case studies, and be prepared for that April 19th sync session. All right, and from there what we need to talk about, or what we're going to talk about, is I'm just going to link this. Actually, I'm going to link 2 things in the announcement. And I'm not really going to talk about them in depth, but I think they are things that you should know. First of all, yes, ALA, either every year or every other year, at the moment, don't quote me on every year, but I think it's every year or every other year, they do release a State of America's Libraries report. And so that report just came out, I believe, this week. I believe it came out on Monday. So this has been published, it's available, and I'm going to put up a link so that you can access it. And there's just general good information to be aware of in this, but there's nothing that I'm actually going to take the time out to talk about in this class. Now, if you're interested in some of these things related to library neutrality, censorship challenges, and that sort of thing, fighting disinformation as well, those are going to be things that I'm going to be talking about quite a bit in the intellectual freedom course that I teach this fall. So if you're interested in that stuff and want to hear more about it, then I suggest you sign up for my intellectual freedom course. But then also know that that course has a lot of, the way I teach it, that course also does have a lot of First Amendment elements to it. And so you're basically going to talk, the first few weeks, we're actually going to talk a lot about the First Amendment and types of speech that are exempt from First Amendment protections. So that's something to be aware of as well. I know that some of my students got a little frustrated when I taught this class, when I taught the intellectual freedom class the last time, because they were like, we're not lawyers. But there's a lot of bad information going around in library circles about the First Amendment and freedom of speech and all of that stuff. And so I addressed those things. I took a law class, a First Amendment law class, when I was attending the University of South Carolina. So even though I'm not a lawyer, I do have at least a little bit of a background there. And so I try to dispel some of the basically disinformation that librarians are contributing to the library sphere about the First Amendment. Okay, enough about that. If you are interested in reading some of this stuff just to be on top of it, again, I am going to put a link to this report, which is freely accessible. I'm going to put a link to this report in the announcement that I put the video in. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about, and again, I'm going to spend maybe 10 minutes at the most talking about this, because again, your last few check-in videos have been very, very long. But I want you all to be aware of the Building Libraries and Libraries Edition, Building Libraries and Library Editions LibGuide that is produced by ALA, and I believe it was just updated in February. Let me scroll down. Oh no, this other LibGuide though, the Library Equipment and Facilities Management LibGuide, which I guess I can link to that one as well. That was last updated in February. You can see there. Oh, actually you can't, because that's out of the screen. Let me pull the screen down. Okay, so you can see this one was updated back in February, but this one has not been updated since the beginning of 2019. So we are talking 3 years there. But the Building Libraries and Library Editions LibGuide, this is something that you're probably going to want to be aware of if you get into management, because if you do get into management, then yes, library facilities are going to be something that you have to deal with. So general information, you have a fact sheet here, and then building and equipment community of practice. Got a helpful link there, and then you have certain you have an assortment of boxes with links in them for the general information scrolling down. So you've got books about building specifically for libraries, general resource links for library design and that sort of thing, building awards, and we don't need the librarian information there. But then also this LibGuide, what I like about it is that it's going to be probably useful for if you go into one of the three main types of librarianship, which are academic libraries, public librarianship, or school librarianship. There is also, of course, a multitude of special librarianship that does not appear to be present in this LibGuide specifically, but most of you, probably 90% of you or more, are going to either be in academic, public, or school libraries, and that's where most students at most library schools end up going. So if you click on any of these tabs, what will happen is you will be brought actually to a different LibGuide, and the LibGuide that you click into, like ACRL, the Association of College and Research Libraries, this is the ALA division that deals specifically with academic librarianship, and so you can get some good information about academic library facilities here. So if you click that, it'll take you to another LibGuide, and then with the public libraries, you stay in this LibGuide. You don't go to PLA, which is the Public Library Association. You don't go into something that they built. You just end up with some resources about building public libraries, and you have a similar thing going on here with school libraries, but this will point you in the direction of some books that could be helpful to you. And by the way, these are books that you wouldn't necessarily have to purchase. They can be things that you get on interlibrary loan. And I haven't checked, but some of them may even be ebooks that are available through Mizzou or through your local public library. Or if you work at an academic library, it may be available through there. Specific spaces in the library, you have a lot of resources here that can be helpful. The resources over here, I believe, are free and immediately accessible resources for adult and senior spaces. Well, not all of them are. You got a book over here too, but then on the other side you have resources for children and young adults, and you can look for these books as well if these are the things that interest you and tickle your fancy and that sort of thing. The teen space guidelines, that's very helpful, and that's something that is also immediately accessible. And then from there, we have things like joint use libraries. I don't know how often that's going to come into play, but if you find yourself in what they call a joint use library, and this can also be, you got some other nifty terms for that sort of thing going on. You can access some information about those here, and then signage is always something good to kind of be aware of. And this is really just a reference list of things that you can probably, again, interlibrary loan or find on Google Scholar or find in a database and read those to get some better ideas about signage, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this LibGuide into the announcement and allow you all to peruse it on your own, and that way you can also, if you want to focus on looking at the type of librarianship that you're wanting to go in without me talking too much about the other types. So if you're interested in academic libraries and you're not at all interested in K-12 libraries, you can focus on academic libraries and skip the school libraries tab and so on. But this is something that's good to be aware of, especially when you're talking about library facilities. And I'm going to leave it right there, and we are going to pick up with some other things later. Until then, folks, I am Dr. Jace, and don't let a mind go to waste, because that's a terrible thing. We'll see you all next week with another check-in video.